Dr. Stephen Beller. I'm a clinical psychologist and turned software geek. Right now, doing a lot of a lot of work with the health information technology. I've known Dr. Flower now for about 25 years, have been involved in his natural intelligence program, learning about it, helping provide some useful information. We've done some work together. I think there's a sound foundation to his principles, and what we're going to talk about today, a new project that we're involved in to use a lot of what he's discovered over the years in a new way to help people understand themselves better and deal with issues in their lives. Natural intelligence, a philosophy and methods, quite abstract and very comprehensive. There are certain aspects of it that I use in my own life and for some of the writing that I do. Things, such as being able to use certain ways of describing things in a common, what they might call, semantics or common terminology that best describes, what it is. And it gets right down to the essence of a lot of what's going on in the world and in reality in general. Such as breaking things down using terms like models and methods and measures and a number of different categories, I guess you would say, where life events and observations can be placed. And using these higher level concepts can bring a better understanding rather than getting too caught up in the details. Details are important. Matter of fact, that's another one of the principles. But how do you bring them together to get cohesive wholes for a big picture view of what's going on? And again, it's just a way to get through the clutter at the, some of the essential qualities, factors that are involved in dealing with life issues. So that's where it had a impact on me. Also opened up, I to understand, I guess, from a cosmological perspective, understanding the nature, of reality. Again, something that's also very, complex and difficult. But Nady principles have also helped to make that more understandable, but by applying it to, different scientific, research and other things, that are, provide useful knowledge. Actually, going back into the early 80s is when I started to write programs, algorithms for understanding people's, the connection between people's behaviors, their emotions, their thoughts, their experiences, and even the medications that they're taking, which can affect it, and the medical problems which can affect it. Just trying to pull all these different pieces together. Very, very challenging, but there too, there was an importance to categorize all this complexity, into a handful of categories, concepts that would explain, what they are. But you also had to get into the kind of the gory details. What specific questions are you going to ask? How are you going to analyze these things? What kind of rating scales are you going to use? When you get the results, what kind of mathematics are going to be applied? What kind of logic in order to organize this data and then to present it with information, useful information, in a way that enhances knowledge and builds knowledge, and that which leads to understanding. You understand why and how things are, so you can make better decisions on how to change things for the better. So again, a lot of it has to do, and what interested me, one of the most, is the connection between a person's thoughts and how that affects their emotions, and how the emotions affect the thoughts too, and how these two things together affect the way people express themselves, their character. Dr. Flowers program also deals with the relationship between being what you're aware of, and what beliefs, what thoughts you have, and then how that affects the way you behave and the kind of character you have. It's one of his core principles. So there's been a lot of decent overlap between my experiences as a psychologist, as a software programmer and creator, and my work with Bob over the years.
So,
on this particular project, it's making the making the abstract concrete. One thing that we've struggled for quite some time with applying natural intelligence to everyday life is getting it into a useful format that people can apply to their own life in a simple and understandable manner. When you have ways of explaining almost everything, it's great, but it's not very useful for dealing with this specific issue right now. And I think this tool has the potential, at least, to provide that kind of feedback that could really inform people of their own character, their own personality, things that might be blocking them achieving things. And with that awareness, we're hoping to even apply that in a counseling type environment where, with assistance, people can make positive changes to their thoughts, to their emotions, and to the actions that they take in life to deal with things. It is really kind of an innocuous, not a very difficult thing. You answer a series of questions, select, associate different colors with those answers, show preferences to types of music. There's some genetic testing along with that, and we pull together these components, the answers to the questions and the preferences and the genetics, to develop a profile, a natural intelligence profile that we're designing to be able to help people better understand themselves, as well as helping a counselor get greater insights into helping the person that they might not have in other means. Another potential benefit is that it can remove bias in a counseling session. We all make interpretations as to what we think underlies something that a person does or says. Being able to, as a counselor, a therapist or whatever, being able to support that with something that is provided by the patient, by the individual objectively through a computer assessment, could again reduce this bias, or at least validate what someone assumes is the reality. People can also try to give the answers that they think the examiner wants, the person wants. This here avoids some of that, questionable, responses or lack of validity by adding information to the set of data, the data set, that they really can't, figure out exactly what is it that we're looking for. So I like that part of it. At least it has the potential to evaluating the results as being more valid than they might otherwise be if they could give a response just because they think that's what you want to hear. Computerized feedback, as long as you can understand it and as long as you see that there's value in it, can be very useful in and of itself. And if it helps guide a person in solving a problem. Actually, there are some tools, that I've written in the past that actually looked at what types of things a person thinks about that are upsetting to them. How often do they think about that? And again, categorizing many different possible life events into a small group of issues that are commonplace for people, and how are they coping with it? What type of strategies are they using to deal with it? Are they just trying to put it out of their mind and ignore it, or are they really putting together a strong game plan, and I'm hoping that this tool will help guide them and focus them in a very positive path that they can take in dealing with issues in their life through greater self-understanding, etc.
Sir?
Well, we hope that the information they receive from this assessment will give them greater self-knowledge. They'll find out something about themselves that's true and valid that they have not already known. They might, it would be good for them to know how to use this new information to deal with issues that they're confronting in life. And it would be good for them, if they want, to share it with a counselor who can, help them interpret and make a game plan for dealing with it moving forward. If this tool provides everything that, in fact, we hope that it will, it can give a person greater clarity, as I said before, greater self-understanding, kind of understanding more of what they're capable of, their potential, what might be blocking it, and how, in fact, to achieve their potential by dealing with the blocks and by finding better paths to follow. There is a theoretical underpinning to this instrument. I found it to have a good deal of solid logic that by which the concepts are organized. It has a good deal of scientific and references from some very intelligent people over the past generation or so, and I think applying this system of natural intelligence in a tool like this has the potential for really positive, significant results, and that's what we're looking forward to proving, to assessing.